Every day, 5 o'clock every day, I'm checking social media. Has Kai Havertz signed? No, he hasn't signed yet. We all thought he'd signed the other day. He didn't. We thought he'd signed yesterday. He didn't. We thought he'd signed today and he didn't. I was waiting for the underground train and the door opening and Havertz bouncing about like Ben Chilwell. But has he signed? No. I'm getting bored now. Welcome to the channel, and a question for you. The whole purpose of my videos is to get you guys thinking. Think of last season, think of all the academy boys that were playing pretty much week in, week out. With the signings we've made and the one we're waiting on, which is taking forever, how many of these players have now got to fight for their place and could find themselves on the bench for the most part of this season, called upon in cup games and things like that? And how do you think they're going to react to it? And not only that, but how many current first teamers, regular starters, are really under pressure? We're going to discuss this in detail. Hopefully you enjoy it. Like the video for me, subscribe to the channel, and let's get cracking. So let's get into this, and let's just start by saying our window's been fantastic. It's been one of the best ever. If we can get Havertz over the line, it'd be fantastic. There's still reports talking of a goalkeeper. There's still reports about Declan Rice. Make sure you check out the video that I posted up yesterday with all the other news apart from Kai Havertz. I'll link it at the end of this particular video, so make sure you check it out. But these signings come in. If you think 50 million for Ben Chilwell, Thiago Silva, Timo Werner, Hakim Ziyech, these players have not come in to Chelsea and will settle for a place on the bench. They've come in expecting to fight straight away for their place, and if anything, be put straight into the team. So what effect does that have on the current first teamers? Let's be honest, it does at the moment. It doesn't look like Kepa's going anywhere. If we sign somebody, they're going to go head to head with him. So let's just get used to it. Kepa's here to stay, and his position at the moment is not under threat, you have to say. The left back position, Ben Chilwell coming in, he'll walk straight into that team. Emerson's going to go, as we know. Marcos Alonso will have to fight for the place like he has done last season when Azpilicueta's moved from right to left with the emergence of Reece James. So Marcos Alonso will be called upon when it comes to playing as a wing-back in the 3-4-3 formation. Or will Chilwell still get the nod for that? Possibly. So we have to ask ourselves the question straight away. Is Marcos Alonso and that left-back position under threat straight away from the arrival of Ben Chilwell? Yes, and he's got a fight in his hands to get back into the team. Thiago Silva is going to waltz straight into the Chelsea first team. That makes it 5 centre-backs for 2 positions. You want competition for places. You want 2 players for every position. So Thiago Silva plus 1 is what it's going to be. Now, I've been talking about the academy and how many academy boys are going to be making way. And Fikayo Tomori, whatever happened with him, we don't know. Frank still talks of him highly. He's still speaking positively on social media. Tomori, hopefully, is still part of Frank Lampard's plans, but he's going to have to get used to being on the bench and fighting for his position, because the emergence of Kurt Zouma the past season, I think, has come on leaps and bounds. I think the connection, the French connection with Silva being in France for 7 years, the lingo, the language, those two be able to communicate. Silva can talk to Zouma, and Zouma's much better when he's got someone next to him talking to him, so not guiding him, but talking to him. And I think that partnership will become the mainstay, and it's down to everybody else to fight to get back into the team. Andreas Christensen's under threat, and so is Tony Rudiger. For me, with being sold, I think I've said it before on this channel. Rudiger, for me, since he's come back from injury, he's too erratic, he's too inconsistent. He plays on the edge. As soon as there's a bit of aggro, he wants to go and get involved and have a fight or roll people up. He needs to calm down and just focus on his football and just relax and become the centre back that's much more consistent on a weekly basis. At the minute, you're looking at 6s or 7s. He should be pushing for 8s on a constant basis. And it's been disappointing, I have to say. That's just me. I'm not here digging him out. I'm not slagging him off. I'm just saying what I'm seeing, and he just needs to calm down and be the player that he was when he first arrived, looking to impress. That's what you want from Rudiger, but at the minute, he's not in the team. He isn't in the team for me. His position's gone. Christensen's out. So it's between Tomori and Zuma. But as I say, Zuma's number one at the minute, and that'll be the defensive partnership. And you look at the right back option, so Reece James. So with Ben Chilwell coming in at left back, you're going to see far less of Cesar Azpilicueta moving from right to left. So Reece James and Azpi are now in a fight for that starting position at right back. Reece James has got time on his side. Azpi's the current captain. Will that be taken over by Thiago Silva and he reverts back to being vice-captain, which I think is a role that he actually probably enjoys a lot more, because the responsibility of cajoling people and giving people orders and grabbing people by the throat or kicking them up the bum on the pitch is not natural to Azpi. So I think if he reverts back to vice-captain, no problem. But he's been a mainstay for Frank Lampard, and I believe he probably will be the start of this current season. The problem that Chelsea have got in their defensive line is costly mistakes. And one thing would take a big step to moving that forward and trying to resolve those issues, in addition to N'Golo Kante playing in front and being fully fit, and that's experience. And I think Azpi will start, and I think Reece James will have to get used to being on the bench in the beginning. That will probably change as the season goes on, depending on how people are. If they play three centre-backs, Azpi will revert to a centre-back, Reece James will come in. And that's the way I think it's going to move forward. So Reece James is probably the first, I say casualty, but as I say, time's on his side. People are probably going to say he's much better than Azpi. His end product is better than Azpi. And I don't argue with that. But vital experience at the back is what we need. That's why Thiago Silva's in. Chilwell's got Premier League experience. Thiago Silva, Zuma will be better for a season playing under Frank at Chelsea. Azpi on the right. So then you look at the signings we got in midfield, and that's obviously Kai Havertz. So Kai Havertz coming in. If you look at the formations we're going to play, 4-3-3, three-man midfield, Kante, Kovacic, one other. 4-2-3-1, two holding midfielders, Kovacic, Kante. Three attacking players behind the striker. You've got number 10, two wingers and the striker. I said this in the beginning when we were being linked with Kai Havertz. And having watched Havertz and seen the quality that he is, I hold my hands up. But how much of a casualty are the likes of Ruben Loftus-Cheek, Mason Mount and Ross Barkley going to be this season when it comes to Kai Havertz? If you look at the people he's going directly up against, you'll have to say there's a case for all three of them. I think if there's an option from West Ham that Chelsea want to accept, they'll sell Ross Barkley. Billy Gilmour's moving forward with his progression. He's not going to be a week in, week out first teamer, but he still will get experience in the cup competitions, bearing in mind with Champions League and things like that. So Gilmour, you can't really say he's in the mix every week. Ruben Loftus-Cheek needs a season of being injury-free to force his way into the team, but I think at the moment he's not first team. And then you look at Mason Mount, who was Frank Lampard's go-to guy week in, week out. But Mason Mount would be that extra midfielder next to Kante and Kovacic, or he would be the number 10 if you think of the attacking players we got, which is what I'm going to get into. So in effect, you're thinking that Kai Havertz is in direct competition with Mason Mount for the start. Now, competition for places is great, and there is a sense that these players, favoured by Frank, walked into the team last year, didn't really have a lot of competition for places, and had it easy. Tammy, to begin with, or for the most part, until he lost his position in the side with Olivier Giroud. Mason, playing week in, week out in all sorts of positions. Mason Mount's now got a fight on his hands to get in the team, going up against Kai Havertz, who, let's face it, the club's made a massive investment in. If they get this deal done, massive investment. Would you pay that amount of money and bench him in favour of Mason Mount? There's going to be pressure from upstairs for him to be playing, but Frank knows what he's doing. He's been there, done it, seen it himself. Frank will manage the situation, but Mason Mount could be at risk for playing week in, week out. Bearing in mind, obviously, the Euros have been pushed back to the end of next summer. That might be a good thing with people sort of sharing the workload. But it's going to sort of unsettle the balance of the team. So you could see Loftus-Cheek, Reece James and Mason Mount not featuring as much beginning of the season as we saw last year. Obviously, Reece James was different. He come in towards the end, but you get my point. So then you look at the attacking areas. So I think the impression Christian Pulisic made last season, before his injury, when he come back after lockdown, fantastic. He's pretty much nailed on that position on the left-hand side. Pulisic on the left-hand side. Now, even as the 4-3-3 or 4-2-3-1, attacking on the left-hand side, Pulisic all day long. 4-3-3, you've got two wingers and a striker. So Hakim Ziyech will be on the right-hand side, Pulisic on the left, with one striker. Now, Timo Werner, will he settle for a place on the bench, or because of his goals and his proven record at the highest level in Germany, does that put him above Tammy, who, let's just face it, Tammy had a remarkable season. He exceeded all of our expectations, lost the position in the team after lockdown to Giroud, who come in and done well, and struggled to get back in. Now Timo Werner's on the scene. Giroud will probably play cup games and probably get the ump and move by January. Tammy's going to have to get used to having a fight on his hands, because let's face it, for most part of last year, as I said, he didn't have that fight. So Tammy's got a fight on his hands to get into the team. And Timo Werner and his goals, you'd have to put him up top. Why put him out wide? Play him through the middle where he's as effective as he can be. So if anything, you could have Tammy Abraham, Mason Mount, Loftus-Cheek and Reece James all out of the team the first month or 2 months of the season, or having to settle for some sort of rotation. And how are they going to react to that? Obviously, they're professionals. They'll have to understand the situation. So, as I said earlier, to a point they had it easy last year. This year, there's a fight on their hands, and I'm sure Frank will turn around and say any successful team has to have competition for places and strength in depth, and that's what we're going to have this year. We will have that, and that's what's exciting. It will take Chelsea that bit further. I'm going to put it out there to you guys. What do you guys think? Do you guys think that the academy boys will have to get used to being on the bench, or will Frank implement them in a different kind of way, or will we see much more rotation this season? Hopefully you get the point I'm trying to make here. No, I haven't waffled on too long. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Smash the like button for me, then subscribe to the channel, but make sure you hit the bell for notifications so you don't miss my videos come out. And thank you for watching. Let me know what you think, and I'll see you all next time.